older team, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max and I'm the channel's host. Unfortunately this week there's no Six Nations due to the break, but thank goodness we are 1 week away from seeing the Blues back in action for Super Rugby. The date that I'm dropping this video, the first 2 games of Super Rugby for New Zealand would have gone by, and so luckily Dalton Papali'i is not injured as of the time I'm making this video. He had pretty much a breakout season for 2021, and it was quite incredible seeing the way that he really developed in comparison to previous seasons. He's been long considered as a potential regular starter for the All Blacks in the future, and he got his first test cap in 2018, aged just 21. It was only shortly after his birthday that he made his debut. He played 58 minutes off the bench against Japan for his debut before he got replaced by Dylan Hunt. He did play one more test in 2018 as well, that was off the bench against Italy for Ardie Savea. He's got a bit of a history with leadership as well, so seeing him become the Blues captain for 2022 wasn't a total shock. As a school kid, he was the captain of his first 15 at St Kentigern College. Braden Ennor, his All Black teammate now, was his co-captain back then, and Papali'i was also the captain for the New Zealand schools side. Although he has not captained Auckland before, he did play a single game as the Blues co-captain in 2021 alongside Rieko Ioane. Although he broke himself for the cause and they lost to the Crusaders, he had a very outstanding performance, and you'll be able to see the stats from that game later on in the video, but for now I'm just explaining how his career's come to fruition. So yeah, he'd only had 7 Super Rugby caps for his All Black debut, but it didn't matter. He was a young guy and getting him in early really worked. He only played 3 minutes of Test Rugby in 2019, and he only played, goodness me, I think about 23 or something like that in 2020. But 2021, that all changed. He'd done all of the hard work that was able to finally make him into a world-class player. He's a very patient player, he bided the time, he learned the ropes, and now he's become one of the best flankers in the world. We're going to run through his stats for Super Rugby in 2021 to kind of explain what makes him so unique, and we'll go through his test stats as well. Then we'll see how this translates to seeing him around the field. So for Super Rugby in 2021, he played a total of 11 games, making 227 meters in total. That includes a performance against the Hurricanes where he made 30 meters. He was also able to beat 12 defenders, which is fairly good considering he did make just 34 carries. Most forwards just take the ball into contact to recycle things. Papali'i is a bit more aggressive, as you can see. Despite his low carry numbers, he can beat a lot of defenders. It's nearly half a defender per carry. He did make 10 clean breaks as well. Papali'i is very useful going out wide and having a wide receiving forward. Toby Faletau, Jack Conan, and Louis Picamol in the past have been forwards who are utilised in this role, whereas a few years back the All Blacks did the same with Jerome Kano. Papali'i gets used out wide a bit by the Blues a fair bit, and it shows through his clean breaks. He's got quite a surprising amount of pace too, and his meters per carry suggest he does indeed have a very good running game, despite some comments I've previously had saying he doesn't have much of a running game. Passes is quite interesting as well. He made 34 carries for the Blues in 2021, as I just said, but he also made 28 passes, something quite unusual for a forward. Forwards don't pass a lot, I know that guys, but Papali'i also made 7 offloads, so if you're counting the offloads towards the passes, it's more passes than he made carries. Something quite incredible right over there. Papali'i, the thing is with him, he's got really good spatial awareness, that's why he passes so much. He's just got an eye to see where gaps are, and hey, he's just got some real soft hands, so he might as well utilise them. When you're coordinated enough to use your hands as a forward, just do it, man. It opens the game up far more, rather than just have ruck after ruck after ruck. Speaking of rucks, he does create quite a lot of them on defence. As you can see from his defensive stats, even if you are able to shut the guy down on attack, he'll still destroy you on defence. Only, one game in 2021 saw him make less than double-digit tackles for the Blues. This is the Blues, of course, not the All Blacks. We'll get onto that soon. But yeah, 135 tackles for the Blues off only 11 games, so that's an average of more than 10 per game. He also made 17 turnovers, so he's averaging more than 1 turnover per game. Absolutely fantastic stuff. His turnover technique is bloody brilliant. I just don't have any footage to showcase the technique. For good measure, he did add 3 tries in as well for the Blues in 2021. Over to the All Blacks, very different stats. Although he's not known as much of a try scorer, he did prove all the doubters wrong, and he really proved himself able to know when and when not to detach or stay on to mauls. He got 5 tries for the All Blacks in 2021, which is the 4th to most of any All Black in that test season. On the depth chart, as you can see as well, he did play a fair few minutes. So far, since Ian Foster took over as the head coach, Papalii has played a fair few minutes. Sam Cane is still first on the depth chart for Openside flanker rather, but Papalii has caught up to him pretty much. Papali'i's played 550 minutes from 8 tests across 2021, and so that's out of his 563 since 2020. Massive proportion of those came from last year. Massive. Dalton Papali'i offers a lot more than Sam Cane on attack for the All Blacks as well. He did make 201 metres for the All Blacks in 2021. Again, off 8 test matches, I'll reiterate. 8 defenders beaten as well, so not as high as it is for the Blues, but it's still a decent amount. 4 clean breaks as well. He wasn't being used wide very much by the All Blacks, and so you can really see that his clean break stats have dropped off for the All Blacks because of that. As you can see here, being used wide by the Blues, as you can see here, he's in the tight contact for the All Blacks. He did make 19 carries for the All Blacks because the All Blacks had a lot less possession than their opponents throughout 2021. They really did not have a lot. I've explained that in a previous video about the coaching review for that year. He did make 5 offloads and 21 passes though, so again, those soft hands are coming through, just adding a bit more fluidity to the All Blacks game. We do need to get the forwards offloading a bit more, just open things up a fair bit like how the English do it. 98 tackles as well, so I need to apologise for those of you who watched my World 15 video for 2021. Papali'i made more tackles than Hamish Watson, and at the time I recorded that, I believed Hamish Watson had made the most tackles of any player in Test Rugby for the year. Sorry guys, Papali'i did make 7 turnovers for the All Blacks in 2021 as well, so quite good stats for a guy that only played 8 Test matches. We're going to return back to those driving mauls I mentioned before though, because I think this is the main thing that sets the young guy apart from most forwards. Dalton Papali'i, his leadership's great, his defense is great, and as I said, even if you shut him down on attack, he'll shine on defense. 28 tackles versus Ireland, great example. But back to these mauls. As you can see here, he's excellent in knowing when to stay on or break away from driving mauls. I've said that many times in this video. In this test against Ireland, most forwards would take the ball into contact after detaching from the maul, but Papali'i doesn't. He knows that he can create something out of who is marking him. On this occasion against Ireland, Kelleher and Furlong are front rowers, so therefore amongst the slowest players on the pitch. Because Papali'i comes off the ruck at pace, running upright rather than crouched over ready to take the ball into contact, this causes indecision between the 2 front rowers. They're not sure which one of them should tackle Papali'i. It's very similar to how Beauden Barrett got them in 2016 this occasion, it's just in the forwards of course. However though, after Papali'i makes the clean break, Andrew Conway is in at 14, he's in perfect position for his jersey number. Hence why Papali'i's passing skills I've mentioned and shown are so important. As you can see, Taylor is able to run an unmarked thanks to the awareness of space Papali'i possesses that I've talked about before. Look guys, he is still 24, but I think he's developing into a world-class player. A big thing about having him on the field as well is you just have that extra security at the lineout. Hoskins Sotutu, Ethan Blackadder, and Luke Jacobson are all 6'3", so they kind of need to be lifted by both locks to be 100% effective in a lineout. Sam Cane and Ardie Savia are a bit too short as well, and probably a bit bulky choppy for someone their heights, whereas Papalii at 6'4 is heavier, but when lifted by both locks, there's no competing against him for the line-out ball. The guy is massive for a 7, but look, he's needed for size at the line-out. You need a 4th jumper, so having him and Luke Jacobson playing on the field together along with the 2 locks would perfectly balance our line-out in my opinion, whereas you could have someone like a Kiri Ioane come off the bench to provide a lot of impact, and obviously Savia is the man at 8, Savia is the best player in the world. Dalton Papali'i's height at the line-out solves a lot of the selection problems I think Fozzie has had, and with those soft hands to go alongside it, you really just can't go wrong. Defense, the stats speak for themselves. I think that if he doesn't get injured, he's going to have a fantastic year as the Blues captain in 2022. Their first game of the season is 1 week away. I'm wishing them all the best with my Blues shirt and a close to being Blues hat. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. You saw the graphic earlier in the video about how the Black Jersey has an official website. Make sure to read the article version of this video over on there. I've also started a bit of a league on the Super Rugby tipping website. It's an official thing where they're giving away weekly prizes, and as you can see, I've started one for the Black Jersey, so join our league and get us some prizes. You can keep them though, of course, not mine. If you do want to make a financial donation as well, I've got a tip jar for PayPal, I've got a Patreon, you saw the members who are signed up to my Patreon earlier in the video, and I've also got a subscribe star if you're not a big fan of Patreon. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you later, okay guys?